So we're installing our SPL tie rod bump steer fix, hopefully. And we've got everything on here. We have to torque this top nut to 75 foot-pounds. And it says you don't want to over torque it. You definitely need to do the other side again. So that's what we got. We're gonna fix the other side. This side's easier because it's on the outside, you can see it.
Yeah.
So now that we have this nut torqued down on both sides, we can go ahead and figure out what spacers we need to put to adjust our bump steer. So it says you want to line it up with the control arm, the angle of this here. So that's exactly what we're doing. On the other side, we did these two. I can't remember the millimeter of them, but it's the bigger one and the middle one, basically. So it should be the same as the other side.
That's what it looks like.
Only assume. We found a good way to look at it through our fake GV bumper here, and it looks the same, Tyler. Yeah.
Yeah. So we'll put that down. We'll take the two spacers. I don't think it matters which way you do it, but I'm going with the larger one up on top.
That's what we did on the opposite side too, so keep it consistent.
Slide that on.
Which Tyler says is the worst part. Oh, that one was easy.
Surprisingly enough. And then you're going to take your locking nut and thread that on there.
And this is an 80 foot-pound torque spec. And it said the lower your car is, the more spacers you'll have to add, and the closer you'll get to the rotor. But it says you never should actually touch. Ooh, that is close. You see that it's been raining.
Well,
it's, you bent this, didn't you?
Yeah, and I bent that, so.
Yeah.
Little column A, little column B. Okay, now, one thing that's going to make this easier on yourself, especially if you're doing like what we are, lock your steering wheel. Because otherwise, when you go to torque this, your wheels are just going to turn. So if you lock it, it makes it a little bit easier. So if you could please do that now. So now that the wheel is locked right there, I can torque this in. And again, that is at 80 foot-pounds for the lower one.
So now we're gonna mock up the new manifold and turbo setup and see how everything sits. I've got this washer on just so we can make sure. I'm afraid that the downpipe's gonna hit this, but we'll find out.
Another thing that I just want to add, cut out that little ear in the back. It makes it seem like you have so much more room.
Tyler's down there trying to figure out how short we need to make it, and we'll take it off and then shorten it up and see how it goes. We're waiting on the new oil feed line to come in because ours was humongous and it's just like a really short run now. So we were reading online and everybody was having problems and they're like, oh, I can't reach anything. And then Tyler and I just realized that we cut this ear out, and I think that's why we have so much room. And we're not complaining.
Yeah, it's fucking great.
I think it looks good. Yeah.
Which normally this sheet metal kind of comes out and goes up, which, oh, hello there.
Hey, that's a perfect shot of your face.
with the sensor on my forehead. From what I've seen so far, quality-wise, like, it just clears this little tab on the transmission, and it looks like you have pretty good clearance to run 3-inch through here, which is a big ask of this chassis.
So tell me what happened, Tyler.
So remember this AN fitting that I put into the sump? It didn't bond very well. So we went to take off the oil drain line, went to crack it, and then it just all came off with it. So I'm gonna scuff this up a little bit better, as well as on the oil pan. I could try and aluminum weld it, but it's like super hard to get in there right now. So I think we're just gonna try and JB weld this clean it up a little bit better, like scuff it up on both sides so it really has something to bind to. And we're gonna try and go from there.
So when we do the built engine, we'll weld one on.
Yeah.
Like truly weld one. So we mocked up the kit again. Somehow got the drain line on, which was hard. It took me like holding it up and Tyler threading it on. But it needs to be shortened just a little bit more. There's a slight kink in the AN line and it's only like this big, really. So now we have to take it off again and do that. I definitely recommend just using a normal hose, but we don't have that luxury, unfortunately.
No, it would be really nice though.
I only have AN stuff, so.
That sounds like first world problems.
Yeah. So we're gonna do that, and then our little 12-inch oil feed line worked out great.
Yeah, you could possibly run like a 9-inch. We're also running a 90 degree and then a 90 degree going into the turbo line. So it just does a light little curve. If you did a 9-inch, it would be pretty tight, but at least do 12-inch.
Yeah,
it will make your life a lot easier.
Honestly, the 12-inch keeps it tucked more this way and away from the rear housing, so hopefully it won't take on too much heat. I mean, I know there's still heat there, but it's not like sitting on the rear housing or anything. While Tyler gets his rag out, we're gonna be doing a 2 1/4 to a 2-inch 90 that's been cut down on for the intake here. It's a pretty tight fit, but it's gonna go right there. Okay, so I got my clamp. It's gonna be a pain to get in there. Oh, wasn't too bad. So we gotta slip this on, and I'm gonna run it just like this clamp, which honestly is like perfect. I can get a 10mm with an extension right there.
So with the Kraken setup, we don't really have room to be able to run our normal 2.5-inch pipe for the intake, like for the intake filter. So we actually have to go to a 2-inch. Now we have some spare pipe, but our intake filter, we can't really seem to find like a good one that's 2 inches. So I just took some old 2.5-inch pipe, made some cuts into it, and then bent it down. And then I'm just gonna weld it onto the 2-inch to basically make a reducer. So that's what I have set up right now. It's not the best looking, but it's really just to give us a little bit of time just to get the car running, because right now we have about 3 hours to get out of here. So I'm gonna weld this up real quick, test fit everything, and then we'll be able to start the car.
So this nut and this nut, I could just get a wrench on it and go like this and turn it. Same as this one, but it's a 14. These two I could get sockets on, as well as this one, but barely. And same as the bottom right there. And also this, I could get a wrench on here or a small socket. And this one, I've got a crow's foot to a swivel with an extension. And I'm just kind of sending it on there like this. And then I just kind of spin the wrench, and then when it hits, you gotta take it back off and then readjust it. Mixing up some pink lemonade.
You know it. Now, so we've added the water wetter and distilled water. And I've got the coolant thing in the back opened up. I think that we're gonna need to go out and grab a little bit more water.
Yeah, we forgot yesterday.
To completely fill the system, but that actually might be full. It's not wanting to take anymore. But also the engine isn't on, so as soon as we get the water pump turning, that'll probably be a different story.
It's supposed to be like up to like what, 10 degrees cooler?
This one says 20 degrees.
Oh, 20 degrees. Oh, dip.
By up to.
Ooh.
So that's the high side.
That's extreme.
Extreme!
Look at all the air coming out.
Yeah. Which, that looks like that did
the
Yeah.
job, so.
It's kind of cool. Oh, it's still getting some bubbles out. I just saw them come out. Just little baby bubbles.
Oh, baby.
So we did end up getting all the bolts, or well, not bolts, nuts tightened. A couple of them were a pain. Went ahead and got this on, and I'm gonna wrap this in some gold heat foil wrap, basically, since it's literally gonna be sitting right next to the manifold. Now we did get this ceramic coated in titanium, so hopefully it helps, but it's still gonna get hot here. So I just want to wrap this and make sure we're not breathing in a lot of hot air. Tyler finished his welds. Yes, we know, but it's for now. So we ran our intercooler pipe like this, basically a 45 to a 45 through the wall like it was before. We've got our air intake on. Everything's buttoned up. All the lines should be tightened. Everything should be on. We got coolant in there, oil in there. And now, what?
I'm going to prime the system to make sure that we have oil circulating through the new line going to the turbo. I'm probably going to do that for about
like 20 seconds, right?
Yeah, 20 seconds, and that should be enough to get everything going.
So to do that, you want to unplug your cam angle sensor for sure. I guess you could unplug your fuel pump relay if you wanted, but
Yeah.
I don't really feel like getting down
Well,
there.
if you undo the CAS and the fuel injectors, then the fuel injectors aren't going to be spraying into the...
You want me to do that?
Yeah.
Please hold. And fuel injector. I gotta unplug this. This guy. Okay, we finally got our Mega Squirt to connect. I plugged the CAS back in the fuel injector fuse, so Tyler's gonna start it, I guess. This is the part I hate the most.
Here we go.
Woo! Sounds so throaty with that 3-inch downpipe. Yo.
That sounds so good.
Doesn't look like the feed line is leaking off the block. Kind of hard to see off the turbo, but you can kind of see and hear the return line. I don't see anything dripping. Tyler's just gonna make sure the coolant is bleeding.
It looks like it, because when I did it earlier, there wasn't really anything in it.
Yeah, I don't see like any micro bubbles or anything,
No.
really.
So, call that good.
Have to get the fluid of the power steering through the rack because it kind of fell out. So Tyler's just going to turn the wheel left to right very slowly and pump everything through, and then we'll check it. Hold up, we got a leak. Well, we got a leak. Coolant. It's coming somewhere on that Kraken mixing manifold, I believe.